Right, well, first of all, I'd like to thank all you guys for being here, but more importantly, for all your coverage and telling all the stories of all the great things our kids are doing all summer long, but especially during camp. We appreciated you guys coming out day in and day out and bearing with me and schedules and things like that. So thank you very much. Obviously, we're excited to get to game week. You know, the guys have worked really hard. It's been a long time coming, and I'm proud of the work that they've put in really since the end of last season. Through the winter, through the spring, through the summer. They've really weathered the storm, and I'm excited to go out and see them represent Baylor and represent their families, but most importantly, represent their team and themselves, and I'm excited. We have a tremendous opportunity this Saturday. Abilene Christian coming in. We know that they're a good football team. Coach Dorrell's a tremendous coach, 3 Division II national titles. Tremaine Jackson, their defensive coordinator, is a coach that I have a lot of respect for, and we'll look forward to playing a great football team, playing a great game, and hope that our team can prepare well this week and go out there and let it rip on Saturday. I know we released a depth chart. I know you guys are asking me a ton of questions about the depth chart, which I certainly understand. But I think especially in first games, the thing that I've told our team is, depth chart we released was representative if we would have played that day. We have a lot of guys that have been banged up for a day or two or 3 or 4, and maybe they're a 2 now. They're coming back, and they have an opportunity this week to see if they can win the job. We're going to play a lot of guys on defense. We feel like we can play a lot of guys on offense, so we'll compete throughout the week, and the guys that have the best week will play. And that's just that's philosophically everything that we believe in. Nothing's handed to you in life. You earn everything that you get, and we want our guys to continue to earn everything that they get through this week. We do have a couple guys that won't be available for the first game. Greg Roberts, for summer discipline issues, will miss the first game and a half. Ashton Logan will miss the first 2 games. Brandon Thompson will miss the first 2 games. And as many of you guys know, JaMichael Hasty will miss the first half of the Kansas game because of his role in that altercation against TCU. That's a Big 12 discipline that they handed down. So those are the off-field issues that we will deal with. We have some other guys that are banged up I know you'll ask me about, but we have a lot of guys that have worked hard. They're prepared to go play, and we hope that they'll play with humble confidence. And that's really the biggest thing as you guys, as you guys ask all these questions, the biggest thing for me is we have prepared, are we going to go out there on Saturday and let it rip and play with an edge that I know we have inside of us, and I'm anxious to see them do it. So with that, I'll see what questions you guys have. Again, I thank you guys for being here. I thank my wife, Julie, for being here. And anything you guys have, let's go.
How important do you think it is to get off to a good start this year after the year you guys had last year?
I don't think last year has anything to do with this year. If we were 12-0, I'm sure Nick Saban's telling his guys, "Hey, let's get off to a good start." So I will say, and I mean that. I mean that very respectfully. I just want our kids I want them to go win because they want to win. I think sometimes when we focus on the past, we end up being victims to that. We last year's over. We have to go play. At the same time, that's really the message I said there about are we going to go play with confidence? One of the, to me, keys for this football team, but keys in life is, are you going to wait to have success to be confident, or are you going to have confidence before you have success, right? And so no one can give you confidence, with my kids, sometimes, as parents, we think, if we tell our kids, hey, you can do anything, that they'll be confident. Kids know when confidence is real, and it comes from demonstrated ability. And so they've worked so hard, our players have prepared so hard, and they've gone against each other. We practiced Saturday night till 11:30 at night in the stadium, and it was, a lot of times that Saturday practice before a game, guys they don't want to get banged up and they hold back. It was our best practice. The GPS monitor said it was the second fastest practice, and that's at the end of camp. So, they should be confident. Now that's humble confidence. We know we have to, as Coach Coughlin said, we have to be humble enough to prepare and confident enough to perform against a good football team. So I'm hopeful that we'll put that first. If we do, confidence will get easier and easier and easier, and that's really speaks to your question of, I'd love to get off to a good start, but no matter what happens in life, the winners just keep saying what's next and keep moving forward.
Matt, you mentioned on the coaches call today that you might take it on Friday before you decide on the starting QB. Has that competition just been that good? Or
Yeah, it's been, I'll say this, Jalen has come in here as a guy that, has all the tools. And, he sat behind Jacoby Brissett, who's an NFL starter, and he played a little bit here and there, and sat behind Finley, who they projected to be an NFL guy, and he's had nothing but work. I mean, he's in there at 6 o'clock in the morning. He's in there at 11 o'clock at night. He's a grinder, and he's got all the physical tools. Charlie, sometimes coming into your second year, quarterbacks can hit a little bit of a slump because they try to do too much. They try to be perfect. And Charlie's greatest quality is he just plays free. And about halfway through camp, I saw Charlie just say, I'm going to go be me, and his level of play. So they are just, to me, going like this right now. And I see Gary Bohannon now picking that up and learning all these great qualities from Jalen in terms of preparation. So I feel so good about that position. I think it would be a disservice to any of them, really any position, to say, hey, you have a spot. The kids use the word spot to me a lot. Coach, what about my spot? And, if you're not writing great articles, I'm sure at some point they're going to take your spot. If I'm not winning, they're going to take my spot. That's not the way life works. And so I want to give guys every opportunity. Now, week 2, week 3, it changes, right? Now you've shown me. But who's going to prepare this week with classes and finals and tutoring sessions? Who's going to prepare at a high level at every position? And so, but I want to make sure I say this one more time. That quarterback, I don't want to say battle, the quarterback play has been really, really exciting. And I kind of just don't want to see it stop. I don't want to see someone catch their breath and go, oh, I got the spot. I don't care if I have to alternate them every play. If they're going to keep doing this, then we'll do it. I'm not really going to do that, but I want to see them keep pushing each other because they are really, really playing well.
Were they worthy of playing both of them throughout the season then?
Oh yeah, they both definitely deserve to play. Now,
How would you do that?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, these are the things that keep you guys, Julie, that keep me up at night, right? Because at the end of the day, I always want to be. That's right. I always want to be fair to everybody too, right? Life isn't fair. Competition isn't fair, but you have to feel like everything's been fair, and and that's at every position, right? So. There's guys that they've shown me what they can do last year, and maybe they've been banged up a little bit. And there's other guys that have played really well, and they've been out there every day. I'm going to give them an opportunity first, and that's pretty consistent. I think that sends a great message to your team that there's never anything done because he recruited me or he this me or no. It's all based upon what you put on tape, And so that's the message. That's the message for us as coaches and for us as players, and really the whole organization. We put earn it on our backs, in the off season, and I meant that. I mean, earn it. You want to be good, earn it. Don't tweet about it, don't Instagram it, earn it. And that comes down to who gets to go out there and represent us on Saturday. Even captains. We haven't even done the single digits yet, but 2. We're going to vote again today because I want everything truly to be earned, and I feel good about where we're at. I think as a result.
Single digits for numbers?
Yep.
They'll vote on those?
Yep.
With last year, the quarterback competition you had, I knew you coming in as a grad transfer, Charlie, the young guy, Zach had been around. Do you see any similarities between these races, or is it just a different?
Nah, I mean, I could see that being people were saying, I think anytime you have an older guy, that maybe has played a little bit, but Charlie's played for us, right? So I've seen him. Now, Zach had played, don't get me wrong, but I've seen Charlie play. I've seen the things that he can do. I just think they're both playing well, so for me on Monday to say, hey, you're the starter this week, might make somebody feel good, but it won't give us the best week. And so, I'm a guy, when I was at my previous stop, I had one quarterback for 4 years. So I'm not like I, go back and forth on these things a lot, but I've got 2 guys playing really well. I've got 3 tailbacks playing really well, so JaMychal's on there as a starter right now, but that doesn't mean John Lovett's not going to go out and start the game and going to battle JaMychal. And that's what makes JaMychal so good, and that's what makes Lovett so good, and Ebner and Squirrel right behind him. And Abram Smith has had a tremendous camp. So, I just think it's a good way to run a program.
What's the mindset in the locker room right now going into Saturday here?
I think they're extremely excited about the opportunity to go play football. And I think we're, a team that's probably tired of hitting each other. Tired of, we've been hard on each other. We've been hard, coaches on players, players on coaches, coaches on coaches, players on players. So I think we're looking forward to the opportunity to play another team, and especially a team that, there's guys on our team that know guys at Abilene Christian. And so I think that's something that our guys are looking forward to. And, all I care about is that we go out and play with an edge. We play like, we want to play. And I think from everything I've seen, we're there. Now we have a whole week to prepare because you can't play well if you don't prepare. And, I'm in the building just now walking out. I see guys in there doing a little bit extra before practice today. So I feel good about their mindset. I feel good about really everything that they've done since camp started.
How much progression have you seen from the freshmen from spring up until this point, and how much have they improved day by day in practice.
The true freshmen? Yeah, I mean, they're, I think they've all gotten significantly better. I think a lot of that has to do with our juniors and seniors this summer were really challenged to take a leadership role. And we're trying to get this to be a team that's not led by the coaches. And I thought we had a lot of seniors, and it's not always popular to be a leader, especially put 110 guys, 18 to 22, and have someone start telling someone else what to do. Guys don't like that. But I thought we had a lot of older guys mentor young players. And we have a bunch of true freshmen that are ready to go play. Connor Galvin's ready to go play. Casey Phillips ready to go play. Tyquan Thornton is ready to go play. Kalen Barnes, he's probably going to play both ways for us. So there's a lot of guys. Josh Fleeks is ready to play. Squirrel's ready to play. And I'm missing guys, so don't read too much into that list. There's just a lot of guys that we feel good about, And I think that's been a credit to that. We started with the split practices and tried to give them some reps. And in the summer, the older guys mentoring them, and a lot of those guys have battled through a tough camp. This was a tough camp, and they battled through it. And hopefully we can get them in some games.
And you've mentioned that guys have a greater level of understanding this year. They're not asking, why are we doing it this way or whatever. How do you feel like that could manifest itself on the field on Saturdays?
Yeah, well, I think in two ways. Number one, when you know why you're doing something, you can commit to it, right? And so you understand it, and so it's not just doing it because you're told. You're doing it because you want to do it. So player-driven teams are much better than coach-driven teams, right? And I think the second thing is we're that much better prepared because we understand why we practice. Practice is everything, and so it's a beautiful world we live in where I can show our guys Nick Saban training days. I can show our guys Hard Knocks. I can show our guys Buffalo Bills embedded, and I can show them all these teams, working and grinding and preparing, and they say, okay, if I want to be great, this is what I do. And so I think they understand the why, so we're that much better prepared. And they also understand the why, so they're that much more dedicated to doing it. Even the simple details of, sometimes you have to learn, from experience instead of wisdom. I use that line all the time. My mom used that on me when I was 11, right? She was like, you can make your own mistakes and learn from your own experience, or you can listen to the people that came before you and learn from wisdom. Most of us as humans learn from our own mistakes, right? So we can go back and look at the things from last year and say, you know what, when coach talks about, a ball near the sideline, put your foot out of bounds and catch it, we kind of rolled our eyes last year. Then we see, that show up in the game. We see us lose that game, and now we say, hey, these details are important. So the level of buy-in from, say, Ira Lewis, Graylin Arnold, those guys, at their positions, for Kedrick Vaughns, just all these guys across the board that are demanding, Blake Blackmore, Pat Lawrence, demanding that guys play with detail has been really cool. And it'll just continue to go like this, right? You hope that it just, continues to manifest itself. It's great when you win because, the fact that the guys are buying into what we're doing without having had any success yet is awesome. You hope that they start to win, they go to bowl games, they see it work, they start to see their guys get drafted, and then not just get drafted, but really have a lot of success, and then come back and tell our guys, hey, this works, and that's when it really takes off, So these guys are special because they're doing it without knowing if it works yet, and we'll see how it goes on Saturday.
Matt, in a deep room, Marcus Jones is listed on the 2 deep. What has he shown you?
Everything. He's Marcus Jones has had an amazing camp. Here's a guy, sometimes we label guys as walk-ons. My kid, the kid that's playing for the Arizona Cardinals is a first-round draft pick. I think he made $13 million that first year. He was a walk-on, They're not calling him a walk-on when you go across the stage. So many times we're labeling someone based upon what happened to them when they were 17 or 18. Marcus Jones, he's a starter for us. We go to four wides, he'll go in and play. He'll play a ton at wideout. He's a guy that runs 4.38 at 6'1". He's got a 4.0 GPA. And Marcus, what's he in? Something that's beyond me. He's trying to decide where he's going to graduate school now. He's just here in everything that he does. And he allows our receivers to really function at a high level because he's just, he'll do anything. He'll block, he'll play. But he's also a really good player. And, I'm not one of those guys that makes a video and shows hey, look, what putting a walk-on scholarship and, we should do that thing. But we put him on scholarship. And thank you, Coach, and just came back the next day and started working. He's just an awesome guy. And he got a ton of votes for single digits. He's everything that we want in the program. Great student, great person, great worker, fast.
Jake, through Morgan, Harrison Hand, Clay Johnson, what's their status? Is there any chance?
Yeah, Harrison's full go. He's practicing. Yeah, he's just, he had pulled a muscle in the summer and has just been slow to come back. And so we've had a lot of other guys practicing ahead of him early in camp, so they're just ahead of him. But Harrison will play. I mean, he's in the mix, and I tell you what, talk about a young man that's really grown up over the course of a year. I mean, we started practice last week, and he was on the scout team, and he's out there giving a great look. And then we roll him over and get him in the 2 deep, so he'll play a lot of football this Saturday, play a lot of football all season. Clay and Jake, they should be available for this week. It just depends on how kind of practice goes this week. They've Jake, really like the third day was standing there and a guy tripped into his leg, but he's moving around. He'll practice today, and then Clay will practice today.
You mentioned getting a few of those guys back last week that had injuries early in camp and them still trying to get used to the pace. How do you manage that this week while still keeping an eye on who's going to play?
Well, I think our coaches, like some of the guys have come back on off days, well within the legal numbers, but on off days when some guys maybe just had a walkthrough, a guy like Blake Lynch is out there in full pads doing individual, getting 45 minutes to get himself back going. So as guys have come back, like Harrison, we've put them through their paces so that they're prepared. So whether it's Blake Lynch or Harrison or those guys, I feel good that they're, Jamison Houston, that they're now coming around, Xavier Newman. We'll push them this week too. And we gave guys a pretty decent amount of time off last Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. So I think our team's pretty fresh right now.
Along those lines, last year with the way that the roster was kind of decimated by injuries, how good is it just to see those guys getting ready to go play a game, with kind of a full team once again?
Yeah, and we're still, we still have some positions of, kind of because of some of those suspensions and injuries. Defensive end is a real worry for me. We're down some bodies at that position. We're not fully, completely healthy, but I think the biggest thing is the adversity of last year in terms of the injuries allowed a lot of guys to play football. So now you take a guy like Chad Kelly that's, might go out and start this game, and he's gone out there and played against TCU last year. He's performed at that level. A guy like James Lynch, who I showed the team last year against Liberty, James Lynch is on the scout team. He's playing scout team defensive tackle, and he ends the season as a freshman All-American. Charlie's the scout team quarterback. He ends the season as a Big 12 Offensive Newcomer of the Year. So this year, all that adversity, injuries, all the things that happened, all those guys that played, like Marcus Jones, now they can hopefully enter this game much more confidently, knowing that they've played and they've been out there, and we're much deeper. And so we're not full strength in terms of our roster right now because of suspensions and injuries, but we'll never really be there. But I think as the season goes on, you get to game 4, 5, and 6, and those guys are coming back and they're hitting their stride. And these guys, that have grinded all camp, they're hitting their stride. Hopefully we'll have a really strong team.
Coach, Abilene Christian, their coach is coming into his second year. What do you actually know about them right now?
Well, first of all, I know the coach is a winner. You win 3 national championships, you know what you're doing. They went 2-10, and that's what I went my first year at Temple. And after last year, I get that. But you saw a team that competed. You saw a team that was down against Sam Houston at the half and came back and almost won the game. You saw a team go out to Colorado State and get down and come back and fight. So you see a team that's got players. You see a team with talent. You see a team that's, they signed 24 guys, 15 transfers. So, there's guys that played at Cal. There's guys that played at Fresno State. There's guys that played at Texas Tech. They know what it's like, and they were 27th in the country in passing offense, so they can throw the ball around. DJ Fuller missed last year. He was their best receiver 2 years ago. He's back. They were 15th in turnovers. They don't turn the ball over. 27th in turnovers. They don't turn the ball over. So you're looking at a really good passing offense. A team that likes to run the ball, but a really good passing offense, and a team that doesn't turn the ball over. On defense, you're looking at one of the top passing defenses in the country. And, Tremaine Jackson, their defensive coordinator, they go in and out of man-to-man and, 4 down, 3 down. They give you so many different looks. And, one side of our lines played a lot of football. Tech, Blackmar, and Pat Lawrence. I feel really confident that they're going to handle all those looks or at least communicate. Christian playing for the first time, Xavier Newman coming back from injury, Malin, Elias, so those guys haven't played as much. And so it's just going to be about us getting on the same page. But we do know defensively they're going to give us a ton. And, I think the thing that surprised us last year was early on in the year, those teams that came out to play us, Liberty and UTSA, they said, let's go play. And they played a straight man, and we didn't win enough. And when I say we, I'm not talking about the receivers, the quarterback, I'm talking about all of us. And so we know these guys are going to come out, they'll play man-to-man, and we have to find a way to win versus a highly ranked passing defense. So I know a lot about them as much as I can know. A first week opponent is always hard because they might have changed to the split back veer in the offseason. They might have changed to, a different defense. So we have to have a lot of confidence in the things that we've done this camp. And, we've made changes too, and they have to deal with those too, and we have to deal with theirs. And it just comes down to really whose players play better and whose coaches coach better on Saturday and which team plays better. And I know they'll come to play. I've already read, they're excited to come here and play, and I know our guys are excited to play as well. So we'll have a good ball game and hopefully find a way to get it done.
Matt, do you mention last year's opener at all to get these guys prepared for this game, or?
I don't think I have to mention it to them. I think they remember that pretty well. I've mentioned last year's opener. I don't like to mention it on game. I'd rather mention it like in the middle of the winter when we're out there at 5:45 in the morning. We're all saying, "Why are we here?" Well, let's remember why we're here, right? I think all of our guys know that nothing that happened last year affects this week, but we should have learned from the things that happened last year. I always say that, if you don't learn from it, you're a fool. So I think we've learned from it. Again, it comes down to humble confidence. If you're going to prepare, and then have the confidence to go play. And I'm hopeful that our guys will do that and go play their best game.
I guess back in July, Big 12 media days, you were saying that your running game had some questions about it. And have they been answered in the month? And are they up there as good as your passing game?
I'm anxious to see. I mean, obviously, we were really, really unable to run the football last year. And we've tried to just improve that. We're not really doing anything different, but we are trying to be much better at what we're doing. And I like our backs. I mean, I think our backs, I mentioned Abram Smith. I mean, he's really been one of the surprises of camp. I mean, not surprised in a bad way, coming off his second ACL. He's had a really, really good camp. And Jamichael and Lovett and Ebner and Craig Williams and Kyle Boyd at fullback when we use one. I've been pleased, but you never really know in the run game till you go play somebody else, right? You kind of go against yourselves every day, and for us, we get used to going. It's 4-3, cover 8, and we go against it every day, and all of a sudden you get to a game and it's completely different, and it comes down to, do you have the poise and also the acumen to handle the things that are thrown at you? But I think Sean Bell's done a really nice job with the offensive line, and Josh Cochran's done a really nice job with the offensive line. Joey McGuire's done a great job with the tight ends. As some of you know, we lost Jamie Jacobs. His doctor just recommended that he not play anymore, and just over time, his back, and so Christoph Henley and some of those guys that are playing for us, we're going to start a true freshman at tight end, and he's got to go play well, and so so we'll see on game day. I'd prefer to run the ball well. That makes me feel good, and I'm hopeful that we can do it.
Has Ross Matizik surprised you, and would you be concerned at all with him long snapping and playing a linebacker?
I mean, it's not ideal, but I think a couple things. We watch Ross, and he runs down and knocks the ball out. He just we want to create more turnovers. He makes turnovers, and so every time we would do like a drill or something, we'd put Ross in, and he'd be one of the best guys on the team at it. And so going into this year, I said to Ross, "Hey, would you consider playing defense too?" And is there an inherent risk to him snapping? Yeah, absolutely, right? But there's also a risk to our quarterback running the football. He could, football's a game of injuries. But he just has a natural feel for how to play the game. He came here as a linebacker, and since day one, he's been that kind of a guy, like just a playmaking type of a player. The things you see on special teams, you also see on defense. And I want him to have a long, long NFL future. And so that'll be as a snapper. But the more you can do, the more you can do. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all, really. I mean, it's been one of those guys we've always said, we should. And then finally we said, why don't we? And he was willing to do it, which is really cool. And so there might be some bumps along the way, but I think in the end he's really going to make our defense a lot better.
Matt, on the players that are going to be suspended for disciplinary reasons, is that a lingering issue, or has that been taken care of on their end?
Yeah, they have nothing lingering. Yeah, that was some of these guys. It was last spring. It was just discipline issues, and hey, this is carrying over. Some of these guys, it's the summer, but yeah, they're all good. I mean, Greg went to media days with us. Greg's been a tremendous leader. He's a great person. Ashton Logan's had a great camp. BJ's as solid a human as there is. Sometimes when we're 18, 19, 20, 21, we do things and there's repercussions. Doesn't mean we don't love them. Doesn't mean that those guys are out there doing everything they can. Just there's standards and that we all have to live up to, and they've lived up to a lot of them. They just made a mistake and we move on.
Do you have a plan yet for how you're going to redshirt or play these freshmen, if I can talk? I mean, because they can play in 4 games.
Yeah.
Is it going to be this month or?
Well, I think it's different for every person. It's a great question. Some guys, we might, say, hey, they're probably not going to play a ton the rest of the year, so if we ever have a chance to get him in a game, we will. Some guys were saying, hey, this guy might be our backup, but it'd be best in his best interest if we can redshirt him, so we'll play him as needed and see how things go. So it's really a case-by-case basis. We had a long meeting. I can't remember what day it was, Sean, Saturday or Sunday. We're really for an hour and a half. We talked about each guy, like, what are we going to do with him? What are we going to do with him? And, as anything, that can get changed after 1 week, right? So it's a case-by-case basis. We're just trying to be really intentional about it. When you start affecting someone's life, like whether they're going to play or not, have a redshirt year or not, you have to think about it. And there are guys like, Jared Atkinson not being here in the spring, dealing with some things. I was like, well, maybe he'll redshirt. Maybe it'd be great for Jared to redshirt this year and help him, go finish his degree even quicker. And he's had a great camp. So he's played himself into, not redshirting now. So we'll try to be intentional about it.
How's Kalen looked at corner?
He's looked fantastic. Kind of pains me because I really want him to play offense, and Fran wanted him to play corner, so I said he can do both. And he's going to play some. He's just so fast. I think the biggest thing about Kalen is just how competitive he is. He just loves to play and loves to get coached, and he brings world-class speed. And so I'm hopeful that he'll play a lot for us at corner, and especially as we get into some of these 4 wide teams, he can go be our dime, and then he'll also help us on offense, and he'll return kicks. There's some freshmen, Josh Fleeks, as those guys get comfortable, I think you'll see our freshman roles over the course of the season really increase, as they get more and more confident in what they're doing.